Hello everyone and welcome to the United Stand. It's a Sunday night show. England have just played. I mean, we won't talk about that match because it was a bit disappointing, if we must say. But we're here to talk about the name that everyone's been speaking about. Fabrizio Romano's recently said that the deal is going to speed up and hopefully Manchester United are going to sign Jadon Sancho sooner than we think. Will it be before the Euros? We don't know. But he played tonight. I thought he had a pretty good game, got subbed a bit early on. But the problem with getting Jadon Sancho is that obviously he's going to cost a lot of money, and does that throw away the transfer budget? So we're going to go around and discuss: is Jadon Sancho worth the 80 million out of our transfer budget that we know is probably going to be cut smaller anyway, because that's what Manchester United like to do every year in the summer. So Jay, I'll come to you first. Jadon Sancho for 80 million, is that worth it out of all the other positions that we need?
First of all, I want to preface this by saying I rate Jadon Sancho. He's been outstanding in the Bundesliga, and even this season, he's a poor season for him, and he still got 19 assists. So I do rate him as a player. With that being said, if our transfer budget, for argument's sake, is 100 million, and we already have a gaping hole in that midfield, like we are literally Parliament FC in that midfield. I know Mark has said that we're a bagel. I think we're Parliament. We're even worse than a bagel. Because bagels make you fat, Pullmans don't. So I think we're worse, right? It's a bloody Pullman FC. Also, I've said it many times, we are a busted sofa FC at the back, and that defense literally is a gift that keeps on giving. And De Gea's former goalkeeping coach came out this week in the media and said that the problem was that defense. But yet the narrative over the last 3 months has been Dino or Henderson, which I believe is poppycock. The Jadon Sancho thing for the club is perfect because it's putting a lot of fuel in the flames of the Gears Out movement, and it literally has extinguished, in my view, the Not a Penny More hashtag, which has been trending on Twitter, and I've been watching it very, very closely. It hasn't come up as much on my feed because millions and millions of our fans will buy into the Jadon Sancho transfer saga. For the club, it's fantastic because every day, come up on your social media feed, it's going to be the transfer Sancho with Sancho, and that is what people are going to see, and that becomes the narrative, that becomes the mindset. So all of a sudden, from 6 short weeks ago, it was Glazers out, literally marching Old Trafford, followed by Old Trafford being made into literally a fortress, keeping us, the fans, out. And now the narrative is all about transfers. It's a case of literally, we are going to sign Jadon Sancho. Nothing to see here. Move along. Normal service has been resumed. So for the club, it is PR masterclass. It's exactly what they want. And it's working. Now, any intelligent fans can see through it for what it is. But there's a lot of fans in the fan base that they're sheep and they'll buy it up. Do I believe it'll happen for the Euros? No. Because as a club, we drag the entrails from every single transfer we do. Even when we went for Maguire and Armo-Bissaka, no other club was in for them, but yet it dragged on for, 6-8 weeks. So will they sign Sancho before the Euros? It makes no sense because United have a new jersey to sell. So to drag it out to the Euros, and then after the Euros is over, drop the saga, and all of a sudden, hey guys, look, our new number 8. Or whatever number they're going to give him. And I think it's a media masterclass on behalf of the club. That's what it is. We will sign him. 80 million, he's worth 80 million, but we need a CDM. And on the show a few weeks ago, I mentioned Casemiro. A lot of you scoffed at it. Fair enough. So Nunes is available. Basuma, probably 30, 40 million quid. Cadavinga, the CDMs are there, but will we get one? Probably not. So for me, would I blow the vast majority of transfer budget on a right winger? No, I wouldn't, because we need to strengthen elsewhere. I know it's a long answer to a very short question, but I had to put in context.
I agree with you. I'm at that place in my head is where I really want Jadon Sancho for the excitement of getting Jadon Sancho. He's obviously a really talented young winger. You could see that in moments today, and I don't even think what he showed today was his full potential, but at the same time, we're spending £80 million of our transfer budget, and I don't think Sancho takes us to the next level that we need to be. I don't think him alone does that at all. I think he adds flair to our attack massively. It adds balance to the right-hand side, but does it cover the cracks that are elsewhere in the team? CDM, centre-back, it doesn't. And I'm just hoping that, like what you said, Jay, they're going to drag this out over summer, and before we know it, it's the end of the transfer window and we've got one signing, maybe another one max, and we've got our hopes up about a centre-back, we've got our hopes up about a right-back, we've got our hopes up about a CDM. Let's be honest, guys, we're probably only getting 2 of them positions. And I'd say that's max, just because of, we know the way Manchester United go. Last season, we thought we were getting Grealish, Sancho, all these other players, and we ended up with Van der Beek and a last-minute Cavani signing. Obviously, we got Tellers as well, but that was kind of expected. So I think it will appease the fans getting Sancho in for 80 million, but where the rest of that transfer money is going to go, I'm not sure, because Varane's price, 40, 50 million, and then that's basically, it's done. And people say you've got Varane and Jadon Sancho, you can't complain. But will we end up getting Varane? I don't think we will, guys. I think what will happen is we want to get Varane, we'll long it out, and we'll end up with a third, fourth choice, the same way as what usually happens. Kev, what do you think about Jadon Sancho? Is he worth the 80 million for you?
In today's current market, yeah, go out, get him. Honestly, I'm not even joking, right? We had Cristiano Ronaldo, the last great right-sided player, you would say, at Manchester United. We sold him in 2009. We've never replaced him. I'm not putting him in the same bracket as him, but there's been a hole on the right-hand side of our attack for years. And I take exactly what you say, that the money could be spent better elsewhere. To be honest, I'm not bothered with that, because it's like, well, what is the transfer budget this year? And if anything's to go by what Joel Glazer's come out with, the comments and this statement that we're going to invest in the squad, well, you go and get Jadon Sancho. You also go and get in a central defensive midfielder, whether it's Declan Rice, Varane, all these players that are being touted about. You go in and strengthen. One of our best transfer windows was under Sir Alex Ferguson. The likes of Nani, Hargreaves, Tevez, a fantastic transfer window like that, and it really strengthened the squad. It gave other players things to think about. Now, you look back to last season, and it sounds funny, but one of the most important signings for United was Alex Tellez. And it wasn't because of what Tellez has done at Manchester United on the pitch. What he's done is actually give Luke Shaw that rocket up his arse to go out and go, I'm United's left back. And he's performed absolutely brilliantly. It's like you look at the rumours about Kieran Trippier as well. You bring him in, and it gives other players things to think about. I'm fed up of this. Players just, I'm going to be in the team this week. We need competition for places. For me, Bruno Fernandes, you look at that transfer saga, took almost a year for Manchester United to sign him. You look, if we'd have signed him the year previously and what United might have actually done, that's why we've spent so much time. So if we do sign Sancho, we've been tracking him for over a year or so. We need to get him into Manchester United. Will they do it? If they do it, they have to do it this week for me. We've got the Euros coming up. You sign that player, you bring him in, he goes into the Euros on a high. Manchester United know they've finally got the man. And again, figures and that are being bandied about. It's like, I'm reading today, they can get him for 26 million cheaper than what they could have got him last season. Who cares? If we'd have paid that fee, 100 million or whatever last season, we might have been a lot closer to Manchester City in a title race this season. Yes, we know defensively we've got problems, but a player like that is a one-off kind of player. He's a flair player. He walks into that team. He brings something different. And Manchester United must sign him. And we know that we also have other areas of the team. For me, it's not papering over the cracks, that signing. Yes, he's a shirt seller. Yes, he holds value. If United ever think about reselling him in the future, it's not a risk for me. Manchester City made a monumental fuck-up getting rid of Jadon Sancho. It's because he knew he was at Manchester City. There's no pathway to first-team football. Yes, people say Phil Foden, this, that. He's the exception. Players rarely get a chance at Man City. He took that step to Borussia Dortmund, used it as a stepping stone. Hopefully, the deal can get done. I'm sorry for talking so much, shite.
No, I agree with you, Kev, on that point. I'm always in that struggle. Jadon Sancho, I want him, but I also want a lot of other people. And that's the problem with not doing our transfer business properly over the last few years. This is what you end up with, a summer where realistically we need to invest a lot of money in 4 or 5 positions, but that probably isn't going to happen, which is a bit disappointing. It's what we should do if we want to challenge City, but we know what we're like. It's COVID times. That probably won't happen. But then you think, if you do get Jadon Sancho, realistically, the amount of young talent we have, we're not really going to have to invest in that forward line for quite a long time after that, apart from when Cavani leaves. Obviously, if Mason's not developed into that centre forward role, then you'd have to get a striker. But in the future, we're not going to have to go out and get left wing, right wings, cams, because Bruno's there. So hopefully, if we do get Sancho, that'll be when we start to move on to try and get the more defensive players in. How do you look at it, Alex?
I think you hit the nail on the head there with the long-term investment thing, with him being such a young age, and then obviously we have Ahmad, who's so young, Martial, Greenwood, Rashford, etc. But it's almost a shame, I think, that we don't need a left-sided wide player, because when I was watching England today, there would be someone that I would have had over Sancho that I thought was just brilliant again, and that's Grealish. And I think we really could end up regretting missing out on him, because it looks like he'll stay at Villa, or if the links are true with City, that would be a massive coup for them. But in terms of Sancho overall, I mean, we do need him. We do need the right-sided player, just even for depth. But I think I've said it on the show loads of times there, and I know I am biased with it, but I feel like at the moment, with how everyone's playing, that Sancho would be on the left wing anyway. And some are arguing, I was seeing like journalists posting about it today, that you can make a strong case that Sancho's best position is on the left wing anyway. And like, he can play both positions, and it's just, I guess, he's more of a goal threat from the left-hand side and more of a creator from the right-hand side. So from our perspective, I guess it would be better to have the more creative side of things. But yeah, overall, I do think that we will end up making these signings. Like Ollie's made it clear in his press conferences, he's never spoke like that before about we need starters, because he can just say, oh yeah, we might bring 1 or 2 players in. He hasn't necessarily stressed the starting point to the starting 11. So I think Trippier and Sancho should happen, and then I do believe we will sign a centre back. The CDM thing is a weird one, because it's like everyone that watches United play knows that's arguably, well, I don't even think arguably, but that's the main position that we need to strengthen. But we don't really seem to be linked that heavily with anyone. Like, we get linked to Declan Rice a bit, but I think number one, he's overpriced for what he is, in my opinion, and that price will go up again at the Euros if he plays well. And then number two, it's like, he's so obviously got his heart set on Chelsea. It's like, would you really want a player that so actively wants to go to another club, with how he is constantly flirting with Chelsea? He's obviously a boyhood Chelsea fan. He's best mates with Mason Mount.
On Mason Mount's Instagram every time he posts.
Yeah, literally. And then as soon as they're back in England together, he's just clinging to Mason Mount the whole time. So it's like, someone's heart that isn't in it. I'd want someone that would actually firmly want to come to United, and there are obviously top level centre defensive midfielders, like you said, like Jay said about Sal Niguez and players like that. They are available, and Niguez apparently wants to leave as well. So I feel like we really need to push the boat out for a defensive mid, but it doesn't seem like we're going to. I think Varane would be someone that they would want at centre back, because like we've seen with Sancho, they want these big names. I mean, the centre back doesn't normally sell shirts, but that is still a massive statement signing. And I think just because of the whole Super League thing, and then with the whole fan forum thing the other day, is that they need to prove really that they're sorry. So maybe they won't invest the next 2 summers, but I feel like this summer they will, because they just have to prove. Because what's the point of them saying all this thing about changing stuff, and then we go into this summer and have a summer like last again? Then they'll think that the fans are just going to kick off again. So they have to prove that they're actually got actions behind their words.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. I hope it is a big transfer window. I always go into it prepared for the worst, because that's how Manchester United's been over the last few years. But I hope we do get them players in. But do you know what I saw midweek is Ahmad playing for his country, right winger. That free kick he took, Didier Drogba's been on Instagram talking about him, saying he's the next big thing. You've got Jadon Sancho when we buy in, Rashford, Greenwood, Dan James still, Martial, 5 wingers there. How is Ahmad going to progress in that team? Jay,
Palestri as well.
Yeah, and Palestri. Jay, do you think bringing Sancho in when Ahmad's clearly improving, clearly got a lot of ability, do you think that could stunt the growth of the likes of Mason, Ahmad? And where does that leave Dan James? Where does that leave the team for wingers? Martial, who's not going to be getting in up front. How does it leave it?
Okay, first and foremost, I'll say Dan James has no growth in him whatsoever. He's reached his ceiling. And he's a mid to low level Premiership player and a best Championship player. And if Leeds want to come back in for him the way they did 2 years ago when he played for Swansea, they can have him. He's got no growth. Ahmed, no question about it, has massive growth and massive potential. And the little snippets we saw in the season, we were all impressed. Now, I know a couple of hot days don't make a summer, but Ahmed definitely has growth and potential in him. I feel that within 3 years, Ahmed potentially could be our right winger, potentially. Pellistri, I don't know enough about to wax lyrical about him. I've only seen snippets of him on YouTube. So for him, I genuinely don't know, so I'm not going to even use him. But we spent, is a close on, the free states will probably correct me, is a close on 60 mil with add-ons between Pellistri and Ahmed, if I'm not mistaken. I
think it was
quite
9 for Pellistri and 40 for Ahmed.
Yeah, so 50 mil on 2 right wingers already, which again sparks of very poor business acumen. You know, I used the analogy, you better off having Del Boy Trotter and Boise from White Prison Horses running this club, because they'd make more concrete business decisions. Like right now, you went back to Trippier. Trippier is very low hanging fruit that wants to come back to England. He's had, I would argue, the season of his life with Atletico. For me, he's a better right back than Armand Bissaka. And look at the difference Tella's coming in made on Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw has played the best of his career. So the obvious signing is Trippier. I would like if the Trippier deal was done before the Euros. The Sancho thing, I'm not enamored by it because I don't think signing Jadon Sancho is going to turn us into Premier League title contenders. I really don't. But that the mint with the hole in the midfield, McFred, that's going to turn us into a team next season that's going to be flirting between 4th and 6th place yet again. And so for me, if I had a dream signing this season, it's Saul Nunez, Basuma, or Varane. But will it happen? Time will tell. Like, it's amazing how on Friday the 4th we had this fan forum, and sadly neither Kevin Ashford or I got that invite for Team Biscuits. We were quite disappointed there on Friday morning when we weren't even asked to come on live stream. We were very disappointed with it. But the bullet points that were outlined by Joe Glazer, any fan that believes that he's going to enact every one of those bullet points is absolutely deluded. It's seriously, it's nonsense. Seriously, man.
The best one was every competition that we enter, we want to win. I was like, what kind of a comment is that? As if that's going to wash, man.
I mean, why would you enter a competition if you didn't want to win anyway?
Exactly. Precisely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I suppose that is where the last 16 years, Joe Glazer and the brother have been able to hide behind the sound bites put out by the club and the PR people. Like, we would love to have been on that fan forum. I know, I don't respect anybody that was on it, but from my reading of it, I've read a lot on it over the last couple of days, I feel they sat there and they ate up like Christmas cake. And I was very disappointed. And Simon Stone from BBC, he spun it as if this was like a new departure for the club and this is going to be like the tipping point. It's absolute bullshit. I'm sorry. I couldn't get over the way the fans just bought that up. Like, none of us here are rocket scientists or pretend to have PhDs, but Jesus Christ, lads, basic cop on. There's wood and there's trees, and look somewhere in the middle. Don't be the other thing you hear just because a rich multi-millionaire tells you. I can't get over it. Now I know we're gonna have point here, but sign Jadon Sancho, guys, that's great, lovely. It'll sell shirts, it'll protect the fan base. But are we going to suddenly close 10 points on Man City? No, of course we're not.
Well, someone that I really do think in the forward line would guarantee you more points next year and would put you in better title contention, Premier League proven, and he played tonight again outstandingly. And I think he should be starting for England most games, honestly. As much as you can keep him fit, he should be starting. Jack Grealish, one of the best English talents. We've been linked to him before. We should have got it done. before. Kev, you're a massive Jadon Sancho fan, and also I need to tell you, you need to tell me what you're doing. Have you been in the garden catching that tan? I'm
I
jealous.
was thinking that.
I was thinking, bloody hell, I got that tan.
Somebody in the comments before said, "How's Kev got a tan like that in Manchester?" I'm telling you, man, it's red hot here.
You've been
Yeah,
hiding
that was
out in the
hilarious.
garden, haven't you, Kev?
I've got tan lines and everything. Look,
Oh my God.
out of a
I'm
bottle.
jealous. I've been in my garden. Look at me. God. Well, anyway, Jack Grealish, Kev, would you have him over Sancho? Probably going to have to pay 100 million for him. But if United were going to do that, it's not been rumoured at all, even though we were linked to him. But if you could do that deal, would you go for Jack Grealish instead?
I would. If you putting me on the spot and you're saying one or the other, Jack Grealish every single day of the week. Ideally, in Dreamland, I'll take them both, but obviously it's not going to happen. But Jack Grealish to me is Premier League proven, playing in an Aston Villa team, which is all right, but they've made that leap from the Championship into Premier League. He's just been absolutely fantastic. And you know, when people make comparisons, sometimes he's the next this, he's the next that. People use this kind of analogy and compare him to Paul Gascoigne. I'll go as far as to say he's one of the closest things I've seen to him. And I do believe that from what I've seen of Jack Grealish, he seems to get better and better. And especially in what is a very exciting and decent England team, he steps up to the plate, doesn't look out of place. For me, he's a ready-made player to walk into Manchester United. To be honest, the annoying thing is, I think we've kind of missed the boat on him. I think we should have got this done last season before he signed that contract with Aston Villa, which in theory only sort of makes Aston Villa's stranglehold on Jack Grealish a bit stronger, because it's like, well, we can now sell him for the fee that we want to sell him for because he's got the extra years on his contract. But again, if you're going out there and you're asking me on the spot, Sancho or Grealish, I'm going for Grealish every single day of the week. Everything that lad brings, the excitement, unpredictability, it's easy enough for me to say. He's everywhere on the pitch, a talisman. One of the most, foul players in the Premier League for a reason.
I think.
Yeah,
Watching him
because
as well, he's so strong. Like, he can just beat a man and use his strength to knock them off. And I just think in that United team as well, he brings so much. He'd step it up another level.
He would. He's got the arrogance as well to carry it off. I like that. And I know, listen, during lockdown, he made a mistake. He's done this, that. People were like, he should never play football again. No, you know, he's made the mistake. He's apologised. You move on. On the field, for me, is what you judged on. And from what I've seen of Jack Grealish, absolutely superb. And he will only get better and better.
Exactly. And you can tell with him as well, even though obviously all the off-the-field stuff happened, when he's on the football pitch, he's there to win. He's captain of Aston Villa for a reason. He's their best player by a mile. I think he's got a brilliant attitude. And you saw how Aston Villa went when he got injured, and then they started winning again when he came back. And I just think it shows his influence that he can have on a team, and you put that into the Manchester United team with the attackers that they've got. I just think he lights it up, and I think he would make a massive, massive difference to our team. But I agree with you, Kev. I think that was one that we should have got done. I think the board, you could tell Ollie wanted Jack Grealish. Ollie wanted Jack Grealish. There was that pre-season game. Everyone was saying, oh, Jack might be coming. Do you know what I mean? And then what the board did is they went out and got Donny van der Beek instead. I'm not complaining, but I think that was to kind of cover up the fact they weren't going to be able to afford to go and get Jack Grealish for him. Alex, you're a Sancho fan. Would you take Grealish over him in the summer, even though it's another left winger, even though he can play cam as well?
Yeah, I was just thinking before, if like I know in the Championship he did play in centre mid, so would it be possible if Pogba did make his move, and we went to a 3-man midfield, if you could play him on the left hand side of the midfield? But I mean, ideally he does prefer to play off the wing at the moment. So then you have is there any point in spending 100 million when you have Rashford, when we do need the right hand side or something different on the right hand side? So it is a difficult one. Like I said before, I mean, I'd prefer to still be starting Greenwood on the right. I know not everyone would, but then Grealish would be then a better suit for for the left-hand side then, because he's such a brilliant creator. I think in terms of big chances created in the league this season, he came third to only KDB and Bruno, and he was out for like 4 months. So he would have been the top creator in the league, I think, if he didn't get injured. And like what you guys were saying before about Villa, I think they would have taken West Ham's spot in the Europa League if Grealish didn't get injured. And then obviously now with them strengthening, what's he called? Is it Valbuena, who they just signed, the guy, Argentinian guy from Norwich? So then now if Grealish sees them investing, it's his boyhood club. If they're making a push for Europe, it's like, will he even want to leave or now? Is what you've got to ask yourself. I really think last summer he actually was interested in joining us, and I feel like we might have come close, but I feel like we've missed the boat now. So from what the squad actually needs with the current personnel we have, it probably would be better to get Sancho, just as well for the fact that he can play obviously both positions, and he can even play if Bruno was to get injured. Please God no, but if he was, then Sancho can play in Sancho can play in that 10 role as well, which obviously Grealish can play left or 10, but Sancho can literally play anywhere across the back line. But I do really worry. I know like people gave me flack for this before when I've said about Sancho being overrated, but you can be good and still overrated. I worry about his goals translating from the Bundesliga to the Premier League. It was the same thing with Werner. When I was watching Werner's like goals back before Chelsea signed him, like so many of them were on the counter. And when I've watched Sancho's goals at Dortmund and his assists for Dortmund, so many of them, he gets a lot of space that he wouldn't get in the Premier League. With United, near enough. Apart from if we're playing like your likes of your Cities or your Chelseas, then we get more space. But when you're playing against these teams, like when we were against like West Brom and teams like that, and they just put 10 men behind the ball, then I do worry. I mean, he's probably better against a low block than the current like Rashford and Greenwood there, but it is just a worry I have. Like for the sort of money we'd be investing, you'd kind of hope that the goals would translate. But then again, I had the same worries about Bruno if his goals and assists would translate, and that translated perfectly. But it's just when I watch him I don't watch much of him in the Bundesliga apart from, like I said, when I've seen his goals and assists on videos. But then when I watch him for England, every time we play against these teams, a lot of teams park it against England as well. And he never really stands out to me. Whereas when I watch Grealish play, every single time I come away thinking, wow. Like I think he's been man of the match every single time he's played for England since he came into the team like last year. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Sancho, it wouldn't surprise me if he's never got it. I don't think he has. I've never been like taken aback. But don't get me wrong, I'll still be happy if we sign Sancho. But I just think given the choice between him and Grealish, it would be a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of sad that we've missed out on that. And I find it weird watching Grealish for England. He's like one of the best players and he's playing for Aston Villa. It just doesn't seem right. I mean, if he goes to Manchester City along with Kane, which is what the rumours are, it's over for everyone. There's no point in league on next season, I don't think. Joe, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on time.
Sorry, guys. I don't understand the transit system. Every left.
No rush, Joe. No rush.
First of all, guys, I agree with a lot of what you're saying about Jack Grealish and the quality player he is. When you're saying his unpredictability, I know Jay will agree with me on this. 1 minute he's Irish, next minute he's English. So that's pretty unpredictable, isn't it? I completely disagree, though. I think Sancho is a far superior. Oh, sorry, 2 compliments, by the way. Kev, your tan is sensational. And Jay, your hair is on point again, like fair play.
One sec, guys. I'm just going to have to go and get my charger because my computer's going to die, but keep going.
No, I have a rant anyway, so...
Okay, go, Joe, go. Jack Grealish, former Irishman. Played GAA for Warwickshire, GAA, just saying. Very true. Played on 16, under 18s.
Yeah.
21s.
Yeah.
The most Brummy sounding Englishman you'll ever hear.
We don't need this. All right?
Can I just say, Jack Grealish, right? In fairness to Jack Grealish, right? Great hair.
Fantastic.
Great calves. And that's why he's hard not be knocked off the ball. And if you look at the way he's played, his lower body strength is phenomenal for a guy his size. Great core strength, massive big quads, huge calves. Therefore, he's very hard to knock off the ball. And a lot of fans won't pick up on that, but that's the reason why he's a strong physical guy.
Like yourself, Jay.
Well, I have my moments, and also as well with Grealish, right? The amount of fouls he will draw. I just put David Advocate here, guys. Would you prefer on the left, Moody, tries out of the pram, good one day, shite the next, Martial, or an absolute baller like Jack Grealish? Who'd you pick?
Well, yeah, but like we're talking about if you're talking about Sancho over Grealish, it is Sancho 1000% for me. Grealish is a top player at Aston Villa. Well, Jadon Sancho is maybe the most important player at a Champions League level club. Who, like Grealish, like Villa fell apart when Grealish was gone, Dortmund fell apart when Jadon Sancho was gone. So that, and they were gone for the same amount of time. The level that Sancho is playing at week in, week out is a higher level than Grealish. I am not taking away for 1 second that Jack Grealish is a top player, but he's also got 5 years on Sancho.
Hang on a second, right? Grealish plays in the Premiership. The Bundesliga hired the Premiership. Come on, man.
You can say
the worst thing Jack Grealish did last season. The worst thing Jack Grealish did, right? Yeah. Let's have it straight. The worst thing Jack Grealish did last season was keep Villa up.
Yes,
because Villa got him into a long-term contract, and he was priced out of the market. That's the worst thing he possibly did. You know, to say Sancho is better than Grealish is poppycock, man. Jesus Christ, what sport are you watching?
Can I say as well?
I think Sancho's ceiling is like indescribable. I think Grealish is possibly at his level. I'm just saying. Okay.
I think Grealish plays with like Harry Kane and all players like that for England, and he's literally always the best player on the pitch with your likes of Foden, Mount, we have more attacking depth than Dortmund have, and Grealish is always the best player over Harry Kane.
Okay, I think that's a matter of opinion because I don't watch England gladly. I can't give my accurate opinion on that. I can only go what people say, like yourselves and other people about England performances. So I can't give an accurate opinion on that. Okay. All I can say is that Grealish going to a top club. I know they're saying about Man City recently, but before that, it was kind of people talking about Arsenal. You know, I didn't really hear much. And like, obviously, Arsenal is a sideways move, but I think that maybe been Arsenal saying that themselves. Do you see him being the best player of Man City, honestly? Or do you see him being basically a relief player that comes in?
100%.
I 100% think if he comes in, he's getting in that starting lineup like week in, week out. Yeah, a lot. I know what it is, guys. Joe's just bitter that he didn't want to play for Ireland.
Never. No,
ask him about Declan Rice next. He'll say useless. Won't get any good anyway.
But guys, listen, right? On the Grealish Sancho thing, do you think Sancho could play for a Villa and keep them up literally single-handedly by himself last season? Do you think Sancho is of that level that he can go into Villa last season and keep them up? I don't think he can.
Well, who knows?
Grealish did.
Unfortunately, that's a question that Sancho doesn't have to answer because he was good enough to be.
Because Jack Grealish is a leader. Jack Grealish is a leader. Sancho's not.
Okay, but I think Sancho's a better player. So we need better players. And having a leader as well is important, but I'd rather have the better player. And Jadon Sancho is 20, and the numbers he has is insane. And I guarantee he gets a service.
Timo Werner looked class in the Bundesliga, Joe.
What's that?
Timo Werner looked like prime Ronaldo in the Bundesliga. Mkhitaryan looked world class in the Bundesliga.
Okay, well, give us a couple of more months. We'll see where Timo Werner is. Okay.
Guys, time will tell because next season Sancho will I think 90% he'll be in the United shirt, and Grealish is probably going to either be playing for City or Villa. So we'll see who has a better season. We'll see who's getting the numbers up. We'll see who's getting them Player of the Month awards. Because I think if Jack Grealish didn't get injured during that season, he could have been up there for like Player of the Season. His assists were on a good level. His playmaking stats were great. But guys, tonight we've been linked from Belgian journalist, his very reliable journalist, to Tielemans from Leicester. Personally, I don't see us going in for him from Leicester. I think it would be a bit unattainable. But is that a player that you would look at and think, you're in Manchester United starting 11 week in, week out, go and get that player from Leicester? I mean, I don't know how long there's left in his contract. I don't know how much he'd be worth, but I think he's a top player. I thought he was a top player before when Leicester were getting rumoured towards him. And that goal in the FA Cup, the way he plays week in, week out for Leicester, he kind of takes up that midfield position that we kind of struggle in sometimes. So Tielemans to Man United, I'm just going to go around like a sweepstake. We'll start with you, Jay. Would that be someone who you'd want to bring in?
Hypothetically, yes. But we've already proven that when we did business with Leicester, with Harry Maguire, we got our pants pulled down very rapidly and we're still paying the price. We would pay for Harry Maguire by about 40 million. Us to go to Leicester and get Tielemans It's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. And if it did, we wouldn't get much change at 100 million. Is Tielemans worth 100 million? Absolutely not. I don't believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Kev?
I would take him, but I would say the main question, rather than signing him, would actually be for me, would be looking at Leicester's scouting network and the players that they have managed to bring in. I'd go and sign them up instead.
Yeah,
N'Golo Kante costs
800 mil for that.
Leicester 9 million or something did they pay for him at the time?
I thought it was like grand, wasn't it?
He was from
mental.
French
From
League
Ohio.
Two.
Yeah, League
What
Two
that
was
man has done, and you looked at him in that Champions League final, the way he bossed the game, and they keep doing it, Leicester. It's the reason I really admire them. Looking as a Manchester United fan, I was made up that they won the FA Cup because they're everything that we are not as Manchester United. Celebrating on the pitch, winning trophies, or they won that trophy. But the fact they have a connect with the owners, family-run club, and the scouting network's unbelievable. They keep doing it. They lose the players, but they keep picking them out, cherry picking them, and they're just picking the right players for their team. I think that's where United have been fallen down over the years. We all know the mistakes. Schweinsteiger, Falcao, Di Maria, trying to bring big names in just to keep it ticking along, where sometimes you just need a player in there, that can do a job and will go out there and run his ass off every game.
Guys, got a super chat here in from David Nehin for $5. What's up, guys? It's the Delhi guy. My real concern is Rashi. Can we have Sancho? But if Rashi is still Kaka, spelled with a C, then are we even improving? Also, we need a DM. Alex, you're a massive Rashford fan. Do you want to respond?
Well, I feel like if we bring Sancho in, we have so much. Like, if you look at our depth and how young it is, like we have, like if we brought Sancho in, Rashford isn't performing, then we'd have who I want to be starting anyway in Greenwood. So it's fine. And then you have that real competition. If we actually do start to blood Ahmad in, and he does get to as good as we will imagine he could be, then that's even more depth. If you put Martial there and he gets back to his form when he was on the left, that's more competition for place. We've seen with City, it's only a good thing. So it'll be fine because Sancho can play anywhere across. So if Rashford's bad, then Sancho can just go on the left wing.
There's a question that I want to ask you guys, and I was going to ask it off air, but I saved it for the show deliberately. What are your feelings on Rashford playing injured in the Euros, knowing full well that he's going to miss the start of the season? Surely Solskjaer should have the balls say, listen, Marcus, mate, we pay your wages. You're not going to the Euros. Again, goes down to Ole showing a lack of balls and leadership for me. What do you reckon, Beth?
I agree with you in that sense. Like the super chat just said, let's say somehow we sign Messi, Kante, Varane, and keep Pogba. We start winning anything as long as Ole's and his coaching staff manage us. People have that opinion on Ole, and David De Gea's goalkeeping coach actually came out and said that the team that currently is at Man United reflects the manager, which is weak. So people have the opinion that Ole is weak, and the fact Greenwood kind of had to go and stay at home because obviously he's younger, so he has more of a hold over him. And Rashford gets to go, even though he's probably more injured than Greenwood. He's had such more of a long-term injury, and he's going to have the operation, it was said today, when he gets back and could miss the start of the season. So Ollie's letting Rashford go and play the Euros, but he's going to be out for the start of our season. Like, it's a bit unfair. For me, I would rather Rashford have his operation now, recover and recuperate and be perfect for next season, have a great season with Manchester United. I love England, but I think England could do the same without Rashford personally. We've got so much attacking threat. I get why he wants to. He's 23. It's an opportunity to go into a major tournament and kind of get quite far. That's what people are thinking that's going to happen with England. But for me personally, I do think if it was Sir Alex Ferguson, even though it's not been that for years, but if it was him there, he would be saying, not a chance you're going to the Euros, you're having that operation, you're staying here, you're getting back to full health and you're training. But I mean, it's one of them. I think certain players just absolutely love playing for England, which is understandable. Wayne Rooney was a little bit like that as well. And I think that's just what Rashford is. He's never going to say no. So unless anybody stops him, he's just going to keep playing.
Just on that point there, like Ferguson, right? Ferguson was such a strong character. Back for the World Cup playoff in 2002, Ireland were playing Iran. Ireland won the first leg. And Ferguson literally had a word in Roy Keane. Listen, Roy, we pay your wages. you're not going to Tehran 2 weeks' time. Big flight, you know, you're carrying Knox, getting on. And Keno didn't go and play in Tehran. Ireland qualified. Okay. But after that, we all know what happened in Saipan.
Yeah, well, but let's not discuss Saipan. Let's not discuss Saipan, please. I really strongly disagree with what you're saying, because you're actually, I don't inadvertently having a go at Rashford's character, because we're saying that he's too weak to stand up.
No, we're having a go with Solskjaer, not Rashford.
No, hold on. At the end of the day, it comes down to the player, okay? Ferguson never told anyone you're not playing that match, except friendlies, because friendlies don't count. Giggs didn't play a friendly for, I think, 15 years.
Come on.
No, but
he had a war with Keno.
Do you honestly think he could tell Roy Keane, you're not going to play that game? Do you honestly think he could say it to him, but Keane will be like, "We're probably no, I'm going to play that game." He definitely had a word in his
ear.
And there's not wrong with having a word. And maybe he had a word.
I've heard it from 3 sources that I'm not going to name on air. Okay.
Well,
sorry, I've just seen something in the comments, not to distract. Kevin De Bruyne has won PFA Player of the Year.
I saw that in a WhatsApp, mate. My mate.
Jesus Christ.
So biased.
That might be the most biased thing I've ever seen.
That's ridiculous.
Can I say on the Rashford point that so many people miss out on is that with Rashford, like playing this tournament is basically completely hosted in England. Like for the most part, I think there's like 1 or 2 games that aren't. So how many times in Rashford's life is he going to get a chance to play a tournament in his home country? If he misses this one, as Beth said, the competition for places for England is so strong in his position. He might feel if he misses out of the Euros, the World Cup's next year, so he's potentially then gets dropped to the bench or a squad player in the World Cup as well.
But no, what I think is going on, right? I think that a word that needs to be said in Rashford's ear, but Rashford said, "No, I want to go. This is the way I want to do it." He's a big enough player at Man United where he can make that decision. If he feels he can do it, and also if he says no, I'm going to say I'm injured. That will possibly cause a rift in the England camp as well, towards Manchester United. So there's a lot of politics behind the scene. I think I would absolutely love if he didn't go to the Euros, and along with all Man United players, because unless they're playing for Ireland, I don't care. I would prefer they all stay at home, and that's not going to happen. Sorry, Kev, go ahead.
Sorry, can I throw in then to the Irish Mafia here, right? If Marcus Rashford was called Mihal Rashford, would you be taking him to the Euros?
Yes.
Even if he was only 80% fit?
Yes, because he's 80% better than all of our players, even 80%.
Yeah. Okay. So what I say to Jay is, Jay, would you take him, or would you blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and say it's weak management?
Exactly.
Look, it's my job here. It's my job here to be polemic and play devil's advocate. Okay. This point has been trending on Twitter for the last couple of days. I've seen us pick up people's tweets. So it's something that we have to discuss. We can't just overlook it. We have to discuss it. The current Ireland team, sure, don't even get started on them. But he's 80%. Okay. What happens? Okay, Marcus picks up. Okay, Euros. Things could happen, right? Marcus picks up yet another injury, which elongates his time out for us, and the fan base will lose their mind, saying he shouldn't have gone. Or point B, Marcus plays for England in the Euros the way he's been playing for us for the last 3 months. You're going to have the England fans coming out, "Oh, get him off. He's shy. He's not doing it for England." That's what's going to happen, guys. It's either or. Do you honestly believe that Marcus is going to go to the Euros and have a worldly based on how he's been the last 3 months? The man is injured. It ain't going to happen. So no, I wouldn't play him.
I don't think he's going to be a starter. I think he's going to be a relief player coming with 10, 15 minutes left in the game, where he can hopefully make an effect. Like if he's starting week in, week out, each game, it's not going to happen because they know his background with injury. They know he's carrying injury. I'd say there has been a plan in place that he's not going to start games unless absolutely.
I think versus Croatia he could.
Lads, we've got Zia Miasi in here for £10. You have Saka for England. What do you need Rashford for?
Same.
Saka only got in because Greenwood got injured, so less of the Saka talk.
I actually think Saka's a very, very good player, but to compare him to Rashford at this point in his career, honestly. Guys, one point I really did want to discuss tonight, because I've seen it floating around in the news today, and I just couldn't believe my eyes, if I'm honest with you. Wan-Bissaka to be trialled as a centre-half pre-season. Does that mean back 5 when Trippier comes in? Does that mean we're just not going to try and buy a centre-back and we're going to try and use Wan-Bissaka, who's got the positional awareness of a 5-year-old? I'm not sure, guys. Anyone want to take the Aaron, what do you think?
I've got a quote here from Richard Shaw. Richard Shaw was Aaron Wan-Bissaka's youth coach. And I'm quoting directly, never thought of him playing in the middle, unquote. Aaron Wan-Bissaka literally started out as a winger, pretty much, as a youth player. And the same winger that we have, I won't say criticised, we've definitely called him out. His inability to get forward and put a decent cross in the box, which he has improved upon. But to say, the club to come out and say they're even contemplating putting him in a back three is absolutely nonsense of the highest regard. And as Ben, as you said, he lacks positional sense at right back. So why the hell would you play him in the back three? It makes no sense to me. So it's another way of the club paving over the cracks that they're probably maybe not going to buy a top-class centre-back, that they'll try and convert Aaron Wan-Bissaka to a three, and they may play Trippier. If that happens, guys, we're asking for trouble. We then have 2 busted sofas and a recliner in a back three.
I think that shows as well some of the ineptness of the coaching staff to even consider that you think Wan-Bissaka could be at centre-half. I mean, on the chat today, on the United Stand chat, where Jamie, one of the people that works for the United Stand, was saying that he thinks that obviously because Shaw's doing so well attackingly now, you're not going to play him as a left-sided centre-half. And Ollie, if he gets Trippier, might want to go to a back five in like big games, and he'd play Wan-Bissaka with 2 other centre-halves, and then Shaw and Trippier as wing-backs. Obviously, I love the idea of Trippier getting forward and putting crosses in. But honestly, if you think that you can train Wan-Bissaka to be a centre-half within a few pre-season games, it is honestly beyond me. His main attribute as a defender is the sliding tackle, is the tackle into people. And that can be even risky as a centre-half if you're in the box. And I just think there's so much more to a centre-half's game, positional awareness, heading abilities, everything like anticipation, everything like that. And Wan-Bissaka is a great defensive right back. Why try and ruin that by putting him as a centre-half? Why don't you actually try and coach him to be a good attacking right back as well? It's beyond me. And that kind of is red flags in my head as to what are the coaching staff thinking?
To be fair, I do understand, and I don't think he would be a good right-sided centre-back in a three. But wouldn't we have said the same thing about Luke Shaw in a three? And then Luke Shaw played there and was really good. So if it's just a trial, but I don't think he'd be any good at it because, like you said, his positional sense is so bad. But just as a trial, I guess in pre-season it can't hurt because, like I said, I would never have expected Shaw to do well there.
No, that's what I was going to say. I completely agree with Alex on that. I don't think there's a long-term solution. I think it's even Wan-Bissaka trying to just hold on to some sort of position, be like, look, I'm able to be adaptable. Do you know what I mean? Don't buy him to replace me. Buy him to be my backup. I think it's just, it could even be Wan-Bissaka pushing that. So I don't think we're going to go with a back three with him in the central defense, on the right side of the defense. I think it's just, let's see how this goes. It could be an option if we're like absolutely, F word down the middle at some point against a big team that we might need this and have practice in it.
Joe, did you think for 1 second Trippier would be prepared to come to Old Trafford and be backup right back to Wan-Bissaka? I strongly believe if he comes, he wants to be a starter. I think personally for me, he's a better right back for me.
Yes. I agree with you, Jay. I completely do agree with you that he is a better right back. But Wan-Bissaka is still the future, and it's just fantastic that we have. I think Kieran Trippier is a better right back now, and a very, very good, very strong right back, and I'm delighted we're buying him. But I think 2 or 3 years down the road, I think Wan-Bissaka will surpass him, and I think having Trippier there will just make that happen. So if we go in and we're at Christmas and Trippier is a starting right back, it's just because he's the better player at that time, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Zamiasi is back in the house for £10. Jay, you should be going for Ruben Neves, which we don't. We are. Don't try and nick him off us. I would take Ruben Neves right now in a heartbeat. Another one from Luke Oru.
Robin Van Persie was enough.
I've just seen someone say in the comments, Zayn should buy Arsenal.
Yeah, he definitely has the money to.
Probably could do with all the super chats he's put in.
So a guy here called Luke Oru for £5 said, "Stop listening to tabloid newspapers and taking it as gospel seriously. It's Sunday. We are simply covering what's come up in the news. It's our job to cover the news. That's if you don't like the news, don't watch the show. We're covering the news. Simple as."
I agree on that point, Jay. As the kind of end to the show, what I wanted to do when I was thinking of the show before and started it, we don't know what's going to happen with transfers. It's kind of anticipated that we're going to have quite a good summer this season. And I wanted to go around and just ask every one of you, you get 3 signings. What would your first 11 be with your ideal signings? And the max budget is 150 mil, because obviously you can't just be like Varane, Rice, Sancho and whatever, because that isn't possible. With 150 mil, 3 signings and then the starting 11, because obviously I know, Alex, you'd probably still include Greenwood if Sancho came. So does that leave Rashford on the bench? Where does Martial? Does this leave Martial? Are we still starting McFred? So I just want to get everyone's opinions, and whoever wants to go first can go first.
Great question, man.
I'll go first. You can all hide in the background and copy me. David De Gea picks himself. Joe, I know what you said last night, and I was dumbfounded. Anyway, David De Gea. I have to go with Maguire because he's there. We can't get rid of him. But Maguire beside Varane, he's my first signing. Shaw and Trippier. Shaw on the left, Trippier on the right. In the middle, this is where it's going to be very difficult, because ideally we want to sign 2 CDMs. So I'm signing, if I can get them, Basuma and Saul Nunez. McFred are done and dusted. Get out of my club.
Can I just ask, how much have you just spent?
Yeah.
Leave McTominay alone, man.
I spent 150. It's gone.
Write that down.
It's gone.
And then
150, gone.
Would you
So
I've be Rashford, Greenwood and Cavani with Bruno, obviously?
Yeah. Yes, it would. And if I could get rid of Martial, but you won't, because he's on $250,000 per week. Actually, one of my Twitter followers today sent me the wages each player is on, and we might discuss it in a while. It's some of it is shocking, like some of what the boys are on, vis-a-vis what we get from them. So yeah, the front 3 will be the same. I don't read the problem the front 3. I'll go back to the start of the show. Our problem is Parliament FC in midfield. So I sign 2 CDMs and centre back. I don't sign Sancho.
Right. Is that because Ollie likes the pivot with the 2 lads that you're going for 2 CDMs? Is that just the way you like set up, or would you go 1 CDM?
No, personally, I play 4-3-3. If I had the option, I play 4-3-3. But I would sign 2 CDMs, because I think that gives us more flexibility to adapt into a 4-3-3. But on defense, when we're not in possession, you need men behind the ball. And let's be fair, Pogba's not going to do it. Rashford's not going to do it. Let's be fair. Listen, when we're not in possession, Pogba and Rashford, they don't track back enough for me. They don't. Let's be honest here. Mason has improved. Cavani's everywhere. Bruno's everywhere. But I don't want Bruno to be everywhere. I want Bruno in their half, not tracking back. So for me, I sign 2 CDMs and I sign Varane. That's just for me.
Kev?
I think it's a really difficult one now, because you're having to work out exactly what you want. It's all right reading press speculation and all that. Central defensive midfielder, I would still go for Declan Rice. And I think, looking at the current market and the way that the pandemic's affected everything, it's had a knock-on effect. You have to be looking at Jesse Lingard and going, right, well, we've got an asset there that's had a really good end to the season at West Ham, and you try and work a deal in with that. Now, listen, I don't know exactly how much Jesse Lingard would be worth, or Messi Lingard, as the end of the season he's had. Messi Lingard, you know what I mean? He's straight swap for Declan Rice anyway, so I've not spent any money. But you do something like that, don't you? And again, I think me and Jay discussed before as well. You look at the Pogba situation, a year left on his contract. Do you risk losing him for free? Or do you look at Real Madrid and try and work something in again with Varane, a player or a position that we actually need? And listen, you could look at anything else. I'd be looking at a central defender, central defensive midfielder. And again, the question marks over Martial. It's like, well, if Tottenham fancied him, you know, if you really wanted to go all out for a player that I do think Manchester United would win the league with, in Harry Kane, who scores goals, again, you know, can you work in Martial? I don't know, a chunky Kit Kat kind of little, you know, just Phil Jones. We'll throw Phil Jones in as well, have that. And the deal is done. And listen, I grew up playing Championship Manager, so I know how to do all this stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've spent about 200 mil at this point with all of these players thrown in there. Alex, what would you go for?
Originally, I was thinking of Trippier, Varane, and Ndidi, which I think would roughly be 150, maybe a little bit more. But then I was just thinking one player who I would absolutely love, and I think one day United will sign, if not United, then Chelsea or City, and it wouldn't be possible this summer, it'll be in like 2 years' time, is Jude Bellingham. I just think we really missed the boat with him. I think with his, what, are you trying to say he's not good, Joe?
No, I'm just so upset we didn't get him.
All right. I think even Fergie showed him around Carrington and like everything. Yeah. So we really pushed about to get him, and like everyone was like laughing about Birmingham retiring the number, and I guess it was a bit embarrassing, but you've seen now since he's gone to Dortmund, I think he's 17 still, and how he's just, I think he won like best newcomer in the Bundesliga and stuff, and how he's just lighting it up in both Champions League as well. We saw against Man City, he got one disallowed, but then scored twice against them. Today, I thought when he came on, he was absolutely brilliant. I think if we had an attacking, forward-thinking manager with England, then Jude Bellingham would be starting for England at the Euros as well. And to think he's such a young age already, and I'd heard about him before when he was way younger. He was starting in the Championship.
Hey, Alex. Sorry, just a quick one. I read a tweet yesterday. Somebody put it out about Jude Bellingham. They said, Jude Bellingham's 17 and he's going to the Euros. He went, my son's a year older than Jude Bellingham and he can't even pick up his own underpants off the bathroom floor.
But the fact that he was in the Championship starting games at 16 years old, and that's where I first heard about him. Like, people were comparing him with like the future like Gerrard and Lampard and like players like that at 16. And he's just such a massive talent, and I think he will come back to the Premier League, obviously, in like 2 or 3 years. And when he comes on the market, Man United have to be at the very, very front of the line.
Yeah.
I've seen something saying that Jude Bellingham could still win the Young Player of the Year in like 2027. Like, that's how young he is.
He's probably the same tweet. They said that Jack Grealish will be 31 when Jude Bellingham can still win Young Player of the Year or something like that.
It's just crazy, honestly. It's mad to think. I'm obviously 2 years older than him, 3 years maybe. No, I think it's 2, but it's just crazy.
Oh, Beth, you're so old, Beth. You're so old.
Give up now, Beth. Give up now.
Yeah, it's over. It's all over. From now it's all downhill.
Joe, which players would you bring in?
Well, look, I hate saying his name. It brings like my ancestors shiver when I say Declan Rice. Yeah, I don't want him literally at all. I don't want to see him be happy in his life again. But in the position he plays in is the one we desperately need, and he's quite good there, and we can work a deal. It's like everything is working against me being happy with us signing him, because like Messi Lingard is obviously going to go there for 30 million. We'll get him for 60, whatever way. It just makes sense, and I wish it was anyone else. And then obviously Sancho for 80 million, and Kieran Trippier. That's fine for me. And my starting 11, because I think I'm the only one doing it along with Jay. Everyone else sort of gave up on that. I'm going to start with Henderson in goal, just to upset Jay. Because even though I said last night, I think currently De Gea is a better player. I just think he's on a decline. But if you want to listen to my argument last night, go back and listen to it. And you want to see Jay's face, I believe he's
Joe Hart 2.0.
I agree.
Joe Hart 2.0 with bad hair.
Such a good comparison.
I agree with you on that, Joe. I actually
Thank you, Beth. Thank you. Someone with sense. So it's goals the wonderful captain, even Henderson. Right back, I would start with. I just love seeing Jay's face. Wan-Bissaka starting right back. Maguire and Lindelof, central defence. Left back, Luke Shaw. Holding midfield on his own is Declan Rice. One side Pogba, the other side Bruno, a bit further up. Right, Sancho. Left, Rashford, hopefully fully fit, ideally. And then up top, Eddie Cavani switching with Greenwood.
It's interesting to think that you could kind of drop the Trippier and Varane and go and get Declan Rice, and how much would that influence our team? But you've still got Maguire and Lindelof at the back, which for me is just it would be torturous to go through another season with them.
Lads,
I think that like it's a tough one, really. Like, honestly, like I don't know which one we need more important, but I feel having Declan. I don't even like saying his name. Having a CDM of quality in that place, and you're getting rid of Fred and McTominay, Mick Fred as Bet coined, as like those players are gone, and then we're playing more attacking football with an actual ball playing CDM. who can defend as well, who will be a shield in the front too. I feel like that is a better option, but also getting like just upgrading our centre backs, I think is also high priority. So I would be happy if we got a centre back or a CDM. I just think I'd be happier at the moment with a CDM.
Yeah, and it could be the fact that with that CDM there, it does make Maguire and Lindelof look a lot better. But at the same time, I just don't think they'll ever be the right centre back partnership.
Prime Roy Keane couldn't cover up for the gross inadequacies and physicality and leadership and tactical nous and positional sense of Magaluf at the back. They don't work at the back, and they never will.
They don't. But I think it'll be so interesting if a figure like Varane does come in. Will Harry Maguire go up to the next level? Because I do think he's capable of that.
I agree with you.
I think he can massively transform the team. Anyway, the hour's up. The last question is from the super chat. I'm going to ask everybody, and then obviously we'll say our goodbyes. Jack Lynch for £5 said, "Would you replace Pogba with Jack Grealish?" Everyone just quickly, yes or no. For me, I would say yes.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Different positions, but as Pog wants to leave anyway, yes.
It's just a yes or no, Alex. Okay, come on.
Okay, yeah.
Well, guys, it's been a good show.
Oh no.
Nope.
The worst possible
It
show.
wasn't a good show.
Terrible. It was awful. It was awful.
Worst post
Can't tell a lie.
ever.
Every time she tells a lie, she freezes.
He's having a moment. Just leave her to it.
Wait, I think I might. One
yeah,
second.
you're back.
Anyway, guys,
You're back in the room. You're back in the room.
Ending entrance and being like, give everyone a bit of a chance. Goodbye. But it just cut off. Anyway, guys, we'll be back on Monday, and I think next Sunday, fan forum, Sunday night show. Sancho might be holding up the shirt. The Euros have started. There's a lot to look forward to, but it's been a great show, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.